You should be live.
Alive. We are live. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and whatever the bloody hell else you want to call yourself. I went out into the wilderness. I sought, I found, and there, in the darkness, there was a creature, growling and snarling against the evil leftist beasts. I led him back to sanity, or at least what passes for sanity. And here is Nomad. Oh, yours.
Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, depending upon where you're at, or evening, or even evening. Yes, yes, we have stories, Jenson. We have stories, and I'm gonna play a small little clip from one Tim Pool. For those who don't know, this is Tim Pool, and he was swatted, right? And of course, we all know that swatting is bad. But I want you to hear this.
Entering my home without permission. I understand exigent circumstances, but I have a real problem with this.
You understand exigent circumstances, but you have a problem. You have a real problem. You're right, Tim. All right? You do have a real problem. Okay? And if you want to know what the problem is, it's easy to find. Right? Walk down the hallway into your bathroom, all right, and look in the mirror. Okay?
I knew he was going to say that. I knew it.
You apparently don't understand exigent circumstances. You think the world rises and sets out of your bunghole. Well, the police knew that they already knew that there was nothing going on here. Bull crap. What, Tim? You think that your face is so wonderful that the police know that you're such a great and upstanding individual by looking at your face, and that all of your friends and all the people that were around there, that they have such honest faces? It's obvious they would never lie to the police or to anyone else. You see, Tim, you profited and even admitted profiting from lies. You, not talking about the groups you were working for, but you personally were working for those groups for yourself. You were personally profiting from lies that you were pushing. Now, you got tired of that, mainly because it didn't pay you enough, probably, though. All right, I'll be honest with you. I don't believe that you quit because you were tired of the lies. I believe you quit because, quite frankly, they weren't paying you enough. And I say that because you continue to promulgate lies through innuendo. You go out there and talk about Occupy Wall Street. Oh, it was just a group of people that got together. No, it was never a group of people that got together, Tim. That's a lie. It was a planned event from the get-go. It was planned by these people. It was not just people deciding that they wanted to do Occupy Wall Street, where you got big and famous. These were not good people. They're liars. They've been liars because you're a leftist, Tim. That's why I'm saying this. You're a self-deluded liar. Now, you don't like the fact that the police came in. Why? You say that you understand exigent circumstances. Why would you expect the police to act any other different? Any other way? Why wouldn't you expect the police to act this way? Why wouldn't you? You see, you're not talking about what you expect. You're talking about what you wish. Remember, wish in one hand and shit in the other, Tim? All right? We're not talking about the fantasy land that you live in. Okay? You weren't dealing with the police. You were dealing with real life. Your problem with the police? Well, the police should have, they should have reacted the way I want them to react. Just like a leftist. No one has any right to act any other way. No, it's your expectations. The police did everything that they did correctly. And you're right, Tim. You went into in this video here. He goes into this what if. What if one of his
Mm-hmm.
people was running down the hallway when the police had entered with guns out? He could have been a tragedy. Yeah, you're right. It could have been. But here's the problem, Tim. While you sit up there and play that game of, whoa, wow, what could have happened to me or what could have happened to my friends, you don't look at it from the other perspective of the police and how they're approaching that very what if scenario. What if Tim Pool and his little cronies are a bunch of liars and have a sex dungeon, and that one of the people had called, all right, to try and get out of there, and the police had come in, all right, and you were trying to run a drug ring or something like that. See, the police have the same ability you do. This is why swatting, all right, should have an extra case of you swatted maliciously. In this case, you're not just going to jail, okay? You're going to jail for attempted murder.
Yeah.
Okay? You're not going to jail for a year or two. You're not getting time served. You're going up for 30 years. Maybe 15 with good behavior. In a federal pen. That's what you need to do to these people. This is not a joke. It's not a game. It's attempted murder. And it's about time that people understood that.
I agree.
But it's also about time that Tim Pool sits up there and realizes that the sun doesn't rise and set in his bunghole.
Nomad, he's a lefty. Didn't you know?
I know he's a
what
lefty.
they say goes.
Well, that's the problem with all of them.
Yeah.
They want the world to be a specific way, and because in their mind the world is a specific. Well, I have a real problem with this. I got a real problem with you, Tim. I'm not serious. I'm serious. I got a real problem with somebody who thinks that the world, all right, isn't what it is, and someone who sits up there and is decrying what's going on in the world that they helped bring about. There, if you now we don't know who actually did the swatting, right? But the idea that quote unquote it was an alt right, or what do they call it, far right?
Yeah.
Come on. All right, let's use some common sense here. Is it possible? Is it theoretically possible? Should we make sure that we don't close off areas of investigation? Of course. You should be investigating where this leads. All right, but we have a good idea where this came from. Okay, and it wasn't from the right. Most of the people on the right don't even know who he is, right?
No.
And they could care even less because he's not prominent, right? And what I mean by that is he's not prominent in the news. You do not see people talking about Tim Pool on CBS, NBC, MSNBC, or Fox. Tim Pool is not a household name. He is not a well-known name. He might think that he is because he has a lot of followers, and he does, and rightly so. And I don't have a problem with Tim Pool's shows. Okay, I really don't. I disagree. I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but that's fine. But for you to bitch about, well, what I've got a real problem with what the police did. Well, I got a real problem with what you're saying right now. I got a real problem with what you've done. Right? Because you're not looking at reality. This is the world he wanted to create. No, it's not. No, it's not. Yes, it is. This is the world that you were looking for. You wanted to change the world, all right, to where you could, where you were free to do whatever the hell you wanted. Okay, well, you got that world. Right? But now the problem is the consequences of that. You didn't want to be held to the accountability of the society saying, hey, lying is important. All right? Not lying is critical for the foundation of a civilization. You didn't care about that. So the foundation you got, all right, is from a bunch of liars. So now you got a result here. The police can't take your word. The police have to react this way because of what people like you and your leftist ilk have done. You want to take away, okay, the automatic assertions by the police, or the assumption by the police, not necessarily assertion, but assumption, all right, that they're going in with good intent, fine. Then what's wrong with them doing the same thing? In fact, they can't then approach anything else any other way. They can't approach their position any other way, right? Or am I missing something?
No. That's why I'm not saying a word. I agree with you completely here.
Right? It amazes me that these people like Tim Pool, they just, there were police, and I don't like the police being in my house. Tim, would you have liked it better if they had a warrant? Would you have liked them better if they had a warrant? No. Would you have been happier that they were roaming through your house with a warrant? No. You wouldn't have been. Nobody would have been.
No.
Right? And let me tell you right now, this attitude of, I'll tell you, I'm going to be real blunt. Tim can protest, obviously, and say, no, I would have accepted it. No, you wouldn't have. You would have gone into, how the hell did you get this warrant? Where did you get this warrant from? Why did you get this warrant? You see, it still comes down to the same thing. He would have been no more happier, wouldn't have made your life any better, made your life any easier, right? The smartest thing Tim could have done, he thinks that he handles this really well because, he says, you got to be careful when you talk to the police. I agree. I also agree with something else he says, that he doesn't want to talk to the police without a lawyer present. He's not wrong.
Yep.
I'm not arguing that point at all. He's right about that. Tim's right about that. But what he should have said to the police is, it's very simply, are you finished? Yes. Okay, can you leave now, please?
Hmm?
That's what he should have said. Please leave. Not to try and engage in a conversation with them, because that kept them there longer. Because they wanted to explain things. I don't want to hear your explanation. Leave.
Yeah. Look, I have a minor opinion, okay, and I'm okay at being wrong, so if you want to tell me I'm wrong, I'm fine with this, but is it me, or do most of the, quotes, left types come across as basically 12-year-old kids?
No, that's very true. That's one of the problems.
Okay,
because
it's not just me then, you're seeing it as well.
They believed the fantasy that reality is what you believe reality to be. They have fostered that viewpoint, all right, to the point of losing the jumping the shark. Okay.
Huh?
Not understanding how a society, because they're so wrapped up in themselves, they never see how society has to function. If a society is going to function, and what makes society work and what doesn't make it work, and what harms society. And I'm not talking about the individual, I'm talking society. There's give and take there.
If you think about it, it's actually kind of funny. Seeing as they are socialist in a generalised attitude, society should be the primary thing on their mind. But like you said, they don't think of their actions and how it affects society. No. It's kind of funny.
Well, it would be... It is and it isn't. And what I mean by that is because you're not wrong. But it's always been the dichotomy about socialists and about these Marxists. They make claims that aren't real. Okay? Yeah. They make claims. For example, if you talk to a socialist, how do they present socialism? Right? They present socialism as somebody has something more than you.
Yeah.
They put it down to an individual aspect. It's not fair that you don't have what they have. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Okay? And then they'll come back if we all work together. If societies work that way, okay, if it could work that way, any society, don't you think that would have happened a long time ago? So maybe
Yeah.
that philosophy, all right, has never worked anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's a reason why it hasn't worked anywhere. Because it can't. Because it's flawed at its core. And the flaw at the core is that you deny individuality.
No. You don't get it. It's not that socialism's flawed. It's humanity's flawed. If humanity worked right, then socialism would be wonderful. It's not us. It's you. It's not fair.
If
Sorry,
everybody in humanity believed that they were my slaves, it would all be a perfect world.
Yes.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's the viewpoint.
Bad, isn't it? Then again, everyone actually. I mean, I know you're going to probably want to argue this, but at the end of the day, everyone actually seems to think that if everyone just agreed with me, it would be a better place. Everyone is looking at it from different angles. I agree, but
I didn't say you had to agree with me. I said you had to be my slave. Please understand the difference. Okay.
Fair point. Fair point.
If people thought like I did, there'd be a lot fewer people in the world. I guarantee you. quite a few fewer people in the world, I might say. Right? I don't want them thinking like me. I don't want them feeling like I.
Let's be honest. Okay, it'd be a better place, wouldn't it?
Well, overall, probably, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Either that, or it might be it might be like one of the stories that we're going to talk about. It might be like this story here, right here. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Turkmenistan's leader wants gates of hell fire put out.
Wow.
All right. The president of Turkmenistan is calling for an end to one of the country's most notable but infernal sights, a blazing natural gas crater widely referred to as the Gates of Hell. The desert crater, located about 260 kilometers, 160 miles, north of the capital, Ashgabat. All right, I guess is how it's pronounced. All right, has burned for decades and is a popular site for a small number of tourists who have come to Turkmenistan, a country which is difficult to enter. Now, I would like to know who gets a frickin', vacation visa. Did I miss the brochure somewhere? I'm just kind of wondering. I haven't seen too many come to Turkmenistan, storylines out there. Have you seen a few? Have you seen those brochures? Or are they roaming around? I mean,
No. I have to admit, Thomas Cook isn't exactly doing them. But can you imagine? You're chatting to your friends. Where did you go on holiday last year? Oh, I went to the Gates of Hell, and everyone just sort of turns and looks at you. It's like, I'm sorry, what?
My parents took me
to
the
yes.
Gates of Hell.
Would you like to see some pictures? No, it's cool. You keep your pictures, weirdo.
The Turkmen news site Turkmen Portal.
Inventive names, isn't it?
Turkmen Portal. Wow, that's pretty impressive. Said that a 1971 gas drilling collapse formed the crater, which is about 60 meters or 160 feet in diameter and 20 meters deep. All right. To prevent the spread of gas, geologists set a fire, expecting the gas to burn off in a few weeks.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Decades later. 5 decades later. Okay? Now,
well, that's not actually a shock that it's that sort of length. There's a place in, I think it's Pennsylvania, called Centralia. It's where the base story for Silent Hill movies are based. Okay, it's literally a mining town, and there was a fire down in the mine itself, and they closed it off, sealed it over, and then gas started leaking. The entire town is basically abandoned, apart from about 20 people who just refuse to freaking go. You're not even allowed in there anymore. But, the fires are still going. It's still burning underground. Literally, you place your hand on the blacktop and you feel the heat. You're going to go, oh, maybe it's a warm area. No, they're doing it in the middle of winter. They don't get snow, it melts.
That was an accidental fire, all right, on a coal seam.
This is true.
Right.
This is true.
And yes, it is still there is a thing that's burning down there, and it's going to burn until it's out of fuel.
Yeah.
Okay. This, however, was done by who? Scientists. These scientists thought, oh, it'll burn off in a couple of weeks. Right? This is science, right? Follow the science. Trust the scientists, right? Am I missing something here?
No, I've got to say, it does, this is one of those times where you get to look at the science and go, explain yourself.
You're expecting this to burn off in a few weeks, and it keeps going 5 decades later.
Mm-hmm.
That's a few weeks, 5 decades. Do you see the problem?
I suddenly understand. It's the same science that when they're saying it's only going to flatten the curve in 14 days. So, which means if they're doing that, then you're looking at maybe the coof disappearing at about 2050, 2055, that sort of area.
No, it's 2070. 5
Yeah,
decades.
well, yeah, good point. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Fair point. Can't really argue there.
That means you were born and you're a 50-year-old man. That means you were voting age and you've already retired because you're 68.
Actually, do you realise, okay, if this goes on as long as people, sort of think, then there are going to be people out there born and they've never known a time
I'm not talking
pre-COVID.
I have no intention of talking about COVID really today.
No.
All right. Mainly because, quite frankly, there's nothing to be said about it.
No.
Nothing's changed. Nothing's going to change. Nothing ever will change. Right? as far as this, the way this is playing out. So, I'm not going to talk about COVID. Not really. I'll talk about certain aspects of things that are affected by it, but and I do have a story that I will talk about it with, but that's not one of the ones I'm going to talk about right now. All right, Jenson, this is your alley. This is your world. This is your realm. And I mean realm as in your realm.
Right? Yes.
Jacob Rees-Mogg says France is a safe haven for refugees, except for those who don't like garlic. Amid a row over the wreckage channel journeys by migrants in small boats.
You guys were saying that you're not really sure about England not getting on well with France. Yeah, things have not changed, okay?
Tory Minister Jacob Rees-Mogg poked fun at France over the migrant crisis today, insisting the country was a safe haven for refugees, unless they dislike garlic. He had remarks that may ruffle the feathers in a country famous for its rich culinary heritage. All right, let's put a stop to this right the hell now, okay? Rich culinary heritage, right? That's what they're claiming France has.
Yeah.
What is France known for? from a food perspective.
Cheese.
What?
Cheese, bread, garlic and onions. Snails, and frog legs. I'm seeing how this is starting to really get iffy at this point. I can't say beef because that's Argentina. Can't really say fish because that's Britain. Can't really say meat because that's sort of heading into the Germany area. Yeah, I'm running out of ideas here. Yeah.
The only thing that I could, when I think of French cuisine, everyone thinks of snails. Okay.
True.
Everyone thinks of French bread. You know,
Yeah.
baguettes, whatever. Okay, okay, bread. I'll give you the bread. But is that a culinary masterpiece? No.
Well, they've
no,
got
no.
French bread, we got rolls. Well, we've had rolls for freaking millennia upon millennia, and they've got French bread. That's basically just a roll stretched out. Okay, I'm impressed.
I'm just putting stuff out there. Okay.
Mhm.
Wine and cheese was about the only other thing that I can think of that anybody thinks of France notable from a any kind of culinary type of perspective. The idea that France has a cute, rich culinary history, I'm sorry. Even the little crescent rolls, right? Came from Vienna.
Oh, come on.
They borrowed everything from the Germans.
If they hadn't had the croissants, you guys wouldn't have the croissant sandwich. Come on.
But it wasn't French, it was Austrian. And I'm not saying crescent rolls aren't delicious. But if you're going to claim that heritage, then you have to admit that maybe Marie Antoinette wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's what they came to France from.
Mhm.
Okay, just to let people understand this. All right. Now, my point of bringing this up is now Jacob Rees-Mogg, or Mogg, is not an inconsequential MP, right? He is up there, right?
He's likely to be our next Prime Minister, so yeah.
So, I mean, this is not someone insignificant, and let's be
No.
honest, he by doing what he did, he wasn't trying to be funny. He was doing it just to really be a dick to the French, right?
Yes.
I mean, he did make it in a funny comment, but he did it intentionally to really, because he knows that the French won't laugh this off, right?
Oh, God, no. They're going to hate it. It's going to be funny as hell. Mm-hmm.
So, and he did this in Parliament, right?
Yeah.
Now, is Boris going to say, "Hey, this is a good idea," or is Boris going to sit up there and go, "Where's the party still?"
Boris, if it wasn't for Boris, if it wasn't for the fact that Boris knows that Jacob Rees-Mogg is going to be taking over, he would probably pissed himself laughing, loving it. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest. He's not going to say anything, or if he does, it's going to be the most, no, stop it. You can't say that about our friends. Okay.
So it's going to be,
That,
oh, please quit. Oh, no.
that's the one. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, woe is me. Our bestest friends are upset. How will I cope?
How could he do this? Oh, no.
That's the one. Yeah. Closely followed by where's the party?
Which leads me to another question. Serious, and somewhat serious, I mean, phrase it.
Oh, yeah.
Is Boris Johnson a cold kid?
Oh, now that's a very good question. I don't know if you know about this. You possibly do, but last time the police actually checked the toilets of number 10 when they done swabs and stuff, they found, I think it was something like 14 different variants of cocaine on the toilets. 14, for God's sake.
Is this where the toilet licking challenge came from? This is what you're trying to indicate.
You know what? I believe it. I would actually believe it.
What are you doing down there? It looks like you're doing a line. Nope. It's the COVID challenge.
Yeah. What's that powder? Oh, it's sherbet. It's nothing. It adds to the taste. Mm-hmm.
And I still stand by my statement. I don't care if there was cocaine on the lid of the seat or not. if you're inviting a stripper into your room because of a COVID challenge, you saw her as a COVID challenge person, I don't care. You might rethink bringing this person in.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree completely.
For those who don't know what I'm talking about Antonio Brown, but that's okay. You ready for the next story, Jensen?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Navy expands boot camp to sharpen focus on character issues. Really? The Navy is adding 2 weeks to boot camp this year in a major overhaul aimed at improving recruits' warfighting and emergency skills while also focusing on suicide prevention, character issues such as sexual assault, hazing, and extremism in the ranks. Navy officials said Friday that expanding boot camp to 10 weeks, when it was 12 weeks when I was in, but to 10 weeks, will provide more leadership training. Did you get leadership training while you were in boot camp?
No. It's definitely not on their top 5 of important things. Let's put it that way.
And ensure sailors are reporting to their jobs in the fleet better prepared for duty. Like what? Being on time? I'm just kind of wondering. I'm sorry, Jensen. I'm having a bad time accepting the fact that you need to extend boot camp to 10 weeks because you...
It's the Navy. I mean, let's get blunt here. What do the fish heads really know? Okay.
Look, I'm not saying that boot camp shouldn't be 10 weeks long. Okay.
No.
I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form, because in my opinion, it should at least be 10 weeks, if not 12 weeks, right? At a minimum. Okay. But if you're going to combat sexual harassment. How? We're going to give them 2 extra weeks. They'll know sexual harassment's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's going to make all the difference.
Then why are you doing it in boot camp? Do you have a sexual harassment problem in boot camp, or do you by the enlisted, or do you have a sexual harassment problem by the officer corps? Let's be perfectly frank here. Let's be perfectly. I'm not saying that there aren't problems of sexual harassment, okay? But the Navy's problems with sexual harassment have a lot less to do with the enlisted ranks than they do with the commissioned officer ranks.
Great.
Top Gun, anyone? Anybody remember that tail hook? Remember the tail hook scandal? You think I'm joking about this? I'm serious.
No.
Now, the problem that you have in the military from the last time that I witnessed it, right, has to do with, there's a problem with the enlisted ranks. But it's because your freaking NCO Corps sucks. and I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Right, the NCO Corps has been destroyed with this woke nonsense. All right, there's too many, far too doggone many. All right, that think that their rank can only sit up there and handle things by their rank. They cannot handle things. They are not trained to be leaders. All right, they don't know what leadership is. They're irresponsible asshats. When they sent me back in, and you had this whole thing. I mean, you had the sergeant major of the army, right? There's only one sergeant major of the army at a time. All right, it's a single position.
Yep.
The sergeant major of the army come out and visit us in the desert, and sergeant after NCO after NCO tried to tell him that the soldiers we were getting out of basic training were not disciplined, all right, and in poor physical fitness in comparison to when they were when they were in basic.
Oh, yeah.
And the sergeant major of the Army's response was, well, they sleep with their rifles. They're much better. Well, these guys are really highly qualified. And that's paraphrasing, but I'm not exaggerating it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you guys are the problems. When you use the term Ruperts. This is a Rupert move, right?
Yeah.
It's somebody who's not listening to the very troops on the ground that are at the tip of the spear. You went out to visit the tip of the spear. The spear told you that tip told you what it needed, and you came back with "go screw yourselves," because that's what he did.
Oh, yeah.
Now, not in so many words, but overall, that's what he did. Now, in the Navy, I'll be honest with you, the Navy is a completely different force for a variety of reasons, right? And I'll be honest with you, I think people in the Navy need to have certain psychological exams done prior to them actually being assigned to a ship somewhere, because quite frankly, being out on a ship for a month or two at a time would suck doggy dicks, okay? Right? I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I can't see myself sitting on an aircraft carrier for 5 freaking months going, my God, what the hell? That's enough of this. I'm tired of seeing water. Okay, no, I realize that I'm not I'm an Army guy. Right? I didn't go in the Navy for a reason. I see nothing good about water. Right? The ocean. What stays in the ocean can live in the ocean. It can live there. I have no problem with that. I understand that
I'd spy in my little eye something beginning with S. C. Congratulations. Well done. Next.
All right. I've met a lot of freaking sailors. I've met a lot of squids. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a different viewpoint. I understand that. It's a different collective image of how things work. Right? I get that.
Yeah.
But especially the guys that go in the bubbleheads, the guys that go in the subs. Because not only are you stuck on the ship, you can't even look outside.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 6 months under the freaking ocean. I mean, the boredom of that job would drive me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just letting you know, all right? The fact that you can't go out and just have a beer, kick back.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't surprise me that ports are the way they are. When Navy ships come in and those guys go wild, it doesn't surprise me. Because if you're in a contained little environment like that, now, if you're going to talk about sexual harassment in that kind of environment, you're going to put men and women together for 6 months under the water. What do you think's going to happen?
Should be happy. Yeah.
Okay? If you don't think that these people are going to copulate just because they're bored out of their skulls, you're out of your mind. They may not even
Yep.
like the other person, but they have nothing else better to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right? I'm sorry. And I'm not trying to take the piss out of the Navy, okay? I'm just trying to say that this is not a world that I would ever live in, all right? And that's why I said you need to give these people psychological exams to see if they're a good fit for that kind of duty, right? You're not going to send.
Yeah.
You don't want to send Charles Manson onto a boat, okay?
So you got to admit, it wouldn't be boring on that boat. You got to admit that much.
Not for long. All right. Which truly frightened us, like Charles Manson took over the boat. Charles Manson with access to modern weaponry. And in charge. And the whole thing is little groupies of him. Little Manson.
I don't know if I'm scared or excited at that. I've got to tell you.
You like that prospect, do you?
I kind of do. It makes life really exciting.
All right, but the sexual harassment crap. The reason, back to what I was trying to get back to.
Yeah.
The sexual harassment stuff you get in the military begins, and I know people don't want to hear this. It's not. The problem is not the enlisted ranks. The problem is the officer rank corps, the officer corps. Okay, and I'm gonna be. I know a lot of people who are officers don't want to hear this shit, but the problem is you guys. Okay, I'm not saying every officer is a bad guy, or even the majority of the officers are bad guy, but there's enough of them. There's more than enough that this kind of crap goes on all the time. All it is an opportunity waiting to happen, and you guys cover that shit up way too often.
Yeah.
Right? That's the problem. With the enlisted, it's easy enough to go after them. With the officers take care of their own, and they hush it up a lot. So you're never going to fix it to the point where where it's not going to happen. All right? Now that's human nature as well. I'll admit that. But you're not going to reduce it to accept what you consider an acceptable level either, because that acceptable level would mean the officers have to change how they do things, and you know as well as I do, officers never believe they're in the wrong. Ever.
Jim, they are the members of the cathedral.
Look, I mean, I've seen a lot of. When I was in the first time, before I got left and then got called back, right? My 14 years in, I never really saw sexual harassment. Right, even what I would term sexual harassment. I saw women that abused the system. I did not ever see or hear about a woman getting abused. Okay.
No.
When I got ordered back on duty, I did see it. I saw it in the NCO ranks. All right, and I saw it in the officer ranks, flat out in front of me. And there's certain things you have to understand. Okay, there's certain things that people got to come to terms with. Right. One of the things that I saw is I saw a major. Right. Now, for those who don't understand, the rank major is a major demarcation point for the officer corps. Why? It's because you get your little scrambled eggs on your hat. You are now a field grade officer. Okay? It's a demarcation point for the officers. I saw a major dating an E4. You should never see that.
No.
Okay? That should never happen. Ever. I don't care where it is. Okay? Can it happen? Is it possible? Yes, but not in the desert. On a base. Okay? You should. All right? Not in a combat zone. You should never see something like that happening in a combat zone. It's inexcusable. To me, it is absolutely inexcusable. And it was open. It wasn't being hidden or anything else. It was in the open, and I was like, I just shook my head because what are you going to do about it? You know, if it's open like that, and all the other officers are seeing it too, and they're not doing anything about it, there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh no, I agree.
So you just have to shake your head. Now, if it was a command thing where I had any input, that's one thing, right? But you're talking about two individuals that weren't part of my chain of command. There's nothing I can do about it. There's times to sit up there and stand up, and there's times not to, and that was one of the times. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth the effort, right? But my point here is that your 2 extra weeks in basic training is not going to fix sexual harassment. It's not going to have any effect on sexual harassment in any way, shape, or form. And if you're going to talk about the quality of the people, you're going to talk about the character of the people. How about you focus on making sure they're all honest first? That should be the first stress. Well, actually, the second stress. The first stress is I don't care where you are. You are going to be somewhere on time. You are never going to be late.
No.
I'll be honest with you. This is another thing that drove me up a wall when I went back in. It was like these people, they were like on civilian time, and I'm like, this doesn't cut this. You know?
No.
Right? I can't tell you how stressed. For those who don't know this, and Jenson will understand this, when you come out of the military and get back in the civilian world, the thing that stresses you most is no one cares about being on time. All right? No one cares about being on time.
No.
And you just look at people and you seethe because you can't say anything. So you seethe.
Nah.
Didn't you say that you were going to be here at 7:30? Well, 7:38. 7:30.
Yeah. Okay, I had enough nicety to allow to 7:31. At 7:32, I'm thinking of like just going. Okay, and it's like, why didn't you wait? I wasn't that bad. You was 3 minutes late. Oh, it's only 3 minutes. Yeah, I was already there. Shut up.
If you're not 5 minutes early, you're already late.
Yes.
I mean, we laugh about it, but it was true. If you had to be in a formation somewhere, if you knew the formation was at 5:30, right? You were there at 5:25 at the very latest to make sure that you were in the ranks with everybody else.
Let's be honest. If they turned up 5 minutes early, they were looked at as, "Wow, you cut it close."
Exactly. Exactly. Cutting it a little close, aren't you, Fred? Yeah.
Oh.
It was one of the things that took me forever, right? It took, and I mean it. It took me forever to get myself to where I wasn't actually stressing because other people weren't doing things on time and were taking their times about things. I know it drove my kids absolutely crazy because I'm pushing them to be on time with everything, and they're like, you know, like the rest of their friends.
Yeah.
Or their mother, for that matter. But you can't say anything to your wife. You expect your wife to be late. I mean, that's her job. But not the kids. The kids.
No.
But yeah, that's one of the stresses they need to do. They need to stress the importance of being on time and being there. When I was in basic, we had 3 phases of training. Right. First was the initial part, right, where basically they're treating you. They're getting a feel for just how much damage they're going to do to you.
Yeah.
Where what they're doing is they're breaking you down mentally and they're breaking you down physically. Because they have to. Okay? For people who have never been in the military, you can go in as fit as you want to be.
Good enough.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it won't be good enough. When you go in there, your first 3 or 4 days, you're going to be physically worn out.
Oh, yeah.
Now, You might not be as worn out as that fatty over there who's just absolutely miserable.
Yeah.
All right, because there's always one. There's always a guy who comes in or a girl who comes in who's 35 to 40 pounds overweight.
Mm-hmm.
And that poor sot is going to just get abused.
Nah, not much. Maybe a little bit.
Okay. And if they make it through that abuse and they lose all that weight, which, believe it or not, it's amazing how much weight you will lose in basic training.
Oh, yeah.
Then those people are on a pathway for the rest of their lives of being thin. They truly are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've got to survive those first 2 weeks, and it is very difficult. Okay, for the average person who comes in there, right? They come in there and they give you this is what they did for us. Is they came in and said, okay, we had 3 performance evaluations on the Army physical fitness test, right? The APFT,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Yeah.
just you were going to do push-ups, you were going to do sit-ups, and you were going to do a 2-mile run, right?
Yeah.
Some people could get 2 out of 3 on the first day, the first time you do it, right?
Yeah.
But you also got to remember when you're doing push-ups, you got to be exact. You can't. I mean, you got to be like a board. I mean, there's a lot of.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of learning about that. Sit-ups, you gotta be in perfect forms, and what's more is you can't be doing certain things, right? You can't have your hands have to be interlocked behind your head. If they're not interlocked, you're wrong. All the whole Hollywood where it just shows them grabbing their head. That didn't go in basic training.
Oh God, no.
Right. So I only saw one individual, and who passed the PT test the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and he was prior service, so he knew, he was coming back into the military. He had served in Vietnam, so he knew what the military was like. The rest of us, we didn't know. Vietnam was over with, and we didn't know what we were getting into. But like I said, nobody passed all of them. There were a few, and I was one of them, luckily. All right, that could pass 2 out of the 3. Right, and then there was the majority, which if they passed an event, they were good. All right, the majority didn't pass any event. Not in the first 2 weeks, right? Because you haven't done 40 sit-ups, you haven't done 40 push-ups, you don't know what that is like yet.
No.
And what's more is they're normally doing this like 3 days in, after they've already worn your ass out by doing push-ups for the first 3 days. Your arms hurt, your chest hurts because you've been doing push-ups, and your body's like, what the hell is this?
Oh, yeah.
Now, you get used to it. You get through it, and by about the midway point, most people could come close to passing, if not passing them, right? Now, the advantage that I had was I could always run. The thing that people struggled with a lot was that 2-mile run, right? Because most people have never walked 2 miles, let alone run 2 miles with the intent of running 2 miles, right?
Yeah.
And I had been doing that in high school, on the high school track team, right? So running for time, and that time was not a hurdle for me, right?
No. You might want to point out that you are not talking a light jog here. I'm thinking for the civilians that don't know, you might want to mention that running is not, a gentle trotting along sort of thing. Or if it is, I think we need to have a little chat. Yeah.
if you want to know what it's like, get on a treadmill, turn your treadmill to 8, right, and run your 2 miles at that treadmill set to 8, okay, and then realize that's just passing,
Yeah.
okay. You, that's the minimum qualification for passing that we needed to do, and on a treadmill it's a whole lot easier to do than on a on a track or what we used to do on the road, right? Mark out 2 miles on the road. But going through all that, and the other of course aspect of it is you're doing it in whatever weather is going on that day. You don't get to wait for the nice sunny warm day to go do the PT test.
No.
If it's raining that day, guess what? You're running in the rain. It sucks. If it's snowing, guess what? You're running in the snow. It sucks.
Yeah.
Right? At least they're doing it. At least they were doing it on the track. All right, I will admit that in basic training we did our final PT test on a track. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't change what they're going to do for that day due to weather. All right, but
nowadays they may well, you know that, right?
That could be. It could be one of the problems with the discipline and the discipline of the troops coming out. It's piss poor. Like I said, the one thing I couldn't believe going back when I got brought back in and I saw the new soldiers, because they didn't have the understanding of being somewhere on time. They didn't.
No.
Right. And this was mentioned not just by me, but was mentioned by everybody. It's like, what the hell's going on here, right? I was hardly the only one that was brought back in with a little notice saying, "Congratulations, welcome back." I mean, so it was annoying. I'm going to be honest with you, but the reason all that's happening, the reason you're having all these problems, why are you looking at the enlisted ranks? If you want to expand boot camp, expand the freaking officer training camp, because that's where you have the major problems. Seriously, if there's a failure, it's a command failure, and you need to take a look at it from a command perspective. This idea somehow these recruits are a problem. No, it's throughout the entire problem, throughout the entire community, because you officers have destroyed the NCO Corps. You treat the NCO Corps as if they are no different than that private. And as a consequence, the people that should be acting like sergeants are acting like privates, and then you wonder why there's a problem. And I'm telling you, the officer corps needs to straighten itself out. And anybody who wants to discuss with me or what I'm talking about, I can point out a lot of different things. I can point out why there's major problems. You can take a look at Abu Ghraib, right? Where we talked about Abu Ghraib, with the NCOs, the problems that were there.
Yep.
That wasn't an NCO problem. That was a freaking officer problem from the get-go. That was an officer problem at the highest levels. What are you talking about? You sit there and stuck a reserve unit in charge of a prisoner of war camp? Are you insane? You just absolutely can't tell. God, I can't tell you how many ways wrong that is.
Yeah.
How absolutely stupid even contemplating doing something like that was.
Yeah.
Did you? That's why I said, if it was up to me,
to say, yeah.
I was like, as soon as I heard about the situation, I said, I bet that's a reserve unit. People were like, why would you say that? I said, because only morons. So after seeing all that stuff, right, I was like, it has to be a reserve. I guarantee you it's a reserve unit. No, it's not. And yeah, it is. Well, I said it was a reserve unit. And it was like, well, these people are supposed to be soldiers and everything else. Dude. Do you not understand the problems with a reserve unit?
The reason we call them Toy Army, okay?
If you want to change the attitude of a reserve unit, put them on the front lines. have them performing all the things, on the tip of the spear, and when a few of them get whacked, which will happen, right?
Yeah.
Then they'll learn. Okay, that the real world isn't this. You don't sit up there and go, well, they're kind of rear echelon things. We'll just put them in charge of these guys. Nothing bad's gonna happen. It was right there. General Richardson was the person who was first in charge of Iraqi freedom. All right, the big general in charge. A guy named was General Richardson, and I'd have fired him. I'd have fired him when not because of Abu Ghraib. I'd have fired him when I found out that it was a reserve unit in Abu Ghraib. I'd be like, "You're gone." I'm dead serious. There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of those officers needed to be cut. A lot of those frontline officers needed to be cut, not because they were not they were cowardly or anything like that, but they were people that were making decisions on not on a military level. They were making decisions on in a political type of level and with a political mentality, and that was the problem. Okay, that it was the problem in Abu Ghraib. It was the problem in Fallujah. If you take a look at where all this is, where all the problems that we had in Iraq were, none of them were military. They were all there were all problems that were problems because political decisions were being made rather than military ones. It's one of the most frustrating things about all that stuff, right? Is you're watching these officers make political decisions rather than frickin' military decisions, and then act surprised when things don't work out. That was the only thing that pissed me off. Quite frankly, is they had the nerve to act surprised. It's like, why are you surprised? This is obviously what you wanted. You went out of your way to earn this. What are you talking about? You're surprised. Anyway.
I agree, man. I agree.
Since I've been bitching about the U.S. military for a while, it's time to move on to another military. This is an unbelievable story to me. Military conscripts in Norway will be given used underwear amid COVID-induced supply chain crisis. I'm not making this story up.
He's not. Okay.
Coronavirus supply chain issues have hit fuel supplies, led to shortages in masks, vaccines, and electronic components, and snarled up holiday gift deliveries. In Britain, truck driver shortages led to fears last summer of pubs running dry. I thought that they were worried about pubs running dry. How could you have worries about pubs running dry when you were not supposed to be in a pub last year?
Yeah. Hold it. I've got one for you. Okay. From the guys I knew, we would have actually happily worn each other's underwear. The idea of the pubs running dry, that right there was heresy, okay? That is a reason to not go to what do you mean we're running out of booze? What? No. Oh, you got to wear this other person's clothes? Yeah, sure, whatever. Where's my beer?
Now, Norway's military is facing a supply shortage that is particularly personal. New recruits are being asked to wear underwear previously used undergarments, including socks, bras, and underwear, returned by conscripts after they complete their service.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that is not acceptable.
Should probably be mentioned just in case people were thinking, oh Jesus. No, they don't literally mean take them off and hand them over still warm, okay? I'm hoping they wash them first. It suddenly occurs to me, I didn't hear the words about washing them. I may actually be...
I don't care if they're washed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even care if the one you're trying to give me is supposedly not stained. Okay? This is not right, Jenson. You can't make this right.
Oh, I can. You got a choice of that or no beer. you're going to put on the underwear, okay? They do not get to take away the soldiers' beer. This is what we fight for.
See, you guys in Britain have a different,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys in Europe as a whole, right, have a different philosophy in that. The U.S. military, and I'm not saying that the U.S. military doesn't drink a lot. I'm not making that claim at all. Okay? But it's not supplied to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
They don't have, the, they don't have the military coming in and going, military, camouflage beer. Right?
Oh, no. Hold it.
Did officers sometimes do that for their men? Yes, but there was not a beer service.
No, but let's be honest. Outside your bases, if you walked more than 10 yards, you couldn't help but trip over a pub. Now, could you?
Well,
for Americans, a bar.
The first bar or the first pub that's outside of a U.S. military base were not pubs or bars that most of us went to. All right, and yes, there was one that was always right off the literally they got the gate. All right, and then 15 steps down is a pub or something, right? And I would agree with it. But that normally is the gay bar.
For us, it was actually. I'll be blunt. It was the whore bar. You went there, and there were so many girls that it's one of the soldiers. I was like, yeah, okay, we know exactly how many guys you've had this evening. Shut up. I'm not joking when I say this evening. All right, that's not a joke.
I'm not arguing the point. I'm just pointing out that from a U.S. military base, for whatever reason, the first bar that you saw when you walk out of a U.S. military base was always a gay bar. It was always a gay or that serviced homosexuals. It was always called something like Blue Note or the Blue Heaven or some other stupid thing like that. Right?
It's not Blue Oyster Club. That would have been too much, I feel.
Yeah. Well, they'd have attracted the wrong crowd. They'd have gotten headbangers going in there going, what's going on?
Yeah, for those that don't know, I think it's the Blue Oyster Club was the name of the club in Police Academy, the gay bar there.
Yeah, but see, people think of Blue Oyster Cult. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
No. Fair point.
Like I said, the headbangers would have walked in there going, what the hell?
Yeah.
But I'm not arguing the point. I'm just pointing out. I'm not trying to make an assessment there. That's what I will. I would like to point out that it's not what I'm saying is not an exaggeration. Number one, and number two.
Yeah.
This is why I get irritated when people talk about quote unquote the witch hunts for homosexuals in the U.S. military. They didn't happen, folks.
No.
Okay, because
if they want to find them, they literally go, as you said, first part on the right. Yeah.
These are not freaking secrets. So, but the U.S. military was not in the point of, for example, when you went to your mess hall, right?
Hmm?
Your mess would, every now and then would serve you alcohol, right?
Yeah.
They would never serve us alcohol.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that the unit wouldn't have a party or the unit wouldn't do things, but the mess halls never had beer. You can go out there and get a drink or a martini. All right. Now there was always a club, like an officers club or an EM club or a serviceman's club, depending upon which one it was. And that they served a lot. Okay. I'm not saying that people didn't smell like breweries at PT in the morning. All right.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right. Except in basic training. We got no alcohol. There's no alcohol at all in basic training.
Oh, no. They will nail your ass to that.
All right.
So, I don't know about America, but with us, because guys I was with were all from up north, i.e. they were all from Newcastle. Those guys could go out that night, get really, and I mean professionally rat-ass drunk. I mean, talking, falling over drunk don't even come close. But they would be out on the line the very next day, and they would just have a big ass smile on their face. I don't know what is wrong with these people. All right, they were not human by any stretch of the
Oh
imagination.
no! I know what you're talking about. There are people that I know people think this is just a war story.
Mm.
But I knew people that would get done with work, and they're going to go out, right? But they haven't gone out yet. They just got back
Yep.
from work. Drink 12 beers and then go out on the town.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The 12 beers would just quench their thirst and get ready, get it flowing through the system.
That's the prep. Like it was normal for people to do 6. Okay. Do a 6-pack by themselves, right? To get prepped to go downtown, to go down range, as we put it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they would be absolutely hammered. And
Oh, yeah.
the next morning at 5:30, you're out there in PT and you start sweating, and you can, it hurts. It hurts your eyes because it's coming out of their pores.
Oh, yeah. Oh, if you honestly, if you lit a match near even half of these, you can take out half the base. But it was funny. It got to be said, it was funny.
It was until they started cracking down on it. But it was, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was. This was their lives. This is how some of these
Yeah.
people live their lives. When they talk about professional drunks, and
Mm-hmm.
what's worse is those people. They would. Eventually, it would catch up to them. Eventually, it might be 5 years, but it will eventually. That kind of lifestyle will eventually catch up with you. You gotta become rational at some point, right? And some people don't make it, and so they put them on, various alcohol programs, to get them
Mm-hmm.
to get them off of it. The problem with that is then the officer corps thinks that this is the solution to everything. Is to throw somebody on these things. So the guy got drunk and he you know beat a guy's car with his hand because he was pissed at the guy. And this did happen. Well, you're going to send him to Alcoholics Anonymous, where he can't have alcohol because obviously he's got a drinking problem. No, he doesn't have a drinking problem. He has an anger management problem.
Yep.
Okay. Your inability as an officer to understand the difference is the problem.
Yeah. No, you're right.
This is what I talk about with Ruperts, right? These are kind of Ruperts. Now, this is a Rupert decision. You're going to tell me, now, with all due respect, all right, how many people are in the Norway military?
You probably. You know what? I don't know. Probably hardly any. I'll be honest.
So how is it that
Okay.
you're missing? Just how short of underwear do you have to be? Is my point.
Fair. Yeah, no, I can't really argue that. I'm actually gonna have a look. You can't chat. I'm actually gonna look.
Okay.
How
I
many?
mean, it's not like the U.S. military where you're getting a few 100,000 people every year coming into the military. All right.
No.
To replace these guys. You.
Oh God.
I mean,
Okay.
You're not talking a serious logistics issue here that I can see.
Are you prepared for this? Okay. The military force in peacetime is 23,250 personnel.
Okay, and
That's it.
if you
And that
assume
is military and civilian staff.
okay, so
Yeah.
let's assume with 10%, attrition rate, so you got to replace 10%.
Yep.
So that's 2,000
Yeah.
across 3 different forces because they have a naval force, they have an air force, and they have an army force, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me you need recruits to hand over their
Wow.
Their underwear.
The skivvies. Come on, break it down here. Wow.
Now it gets better. You need women.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna say population-wise, that's half, right?
Yeah.
That half of them that are coming in are women, which we know isn't true because women are not going to come into the military at the same rate men do. Right?
Nah.
They got to share bras.
Look, I'm gonna be blunt, okay? I have known more than Nomad. I've known more than a few guys who wouldn't necessarily actually have a problem running around in women's underwear just because it was funny. Okay, I don't know what it's like for you guys, but to us, that's like the height of humour. It really is.
I can say that there's probably several that I know that, that would wear women's clothes because they wanted to wear women's clothes. It had nothing to do with whether or not they thought it was hilarious or not.
I'm not including them. I know there would be those that actually would wear it, and I'm going to say a few of them look almost halfway decent till you see the frame in the face. But no, there were half a dozen who literally just out of sheer, oh, that'd be cool, would basically, and it would be said in that tone of voice as well. Oh, that'd be cool, just because it was a good idea. Someone said it.
No, I'm not doubting that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just pointing out, trying to point out what I'm trying to point out.
Susan's had a brilliant idea. Someone should do a GoFundMe for soldiers' underwear. I agree.
God. Do you have relatives in Norway? Are they in the military? Well, they're short of their underwear. Please start a GoFundMe page. Start a donation to have them send.
No, we really need to have a little chat with Araking. I mean, he's from Norway. Maybe, know some people that might be able to help with this. Lordy. Yeah, well,
Why do I picture, if you have problems supplying your recruits underwear, do you really think I can trust you in an actual combat situation? It's not that you might not be well trained and highly disciplined, but if you don't got bullets, what good are you?
You shout bang? I don't know. I mean, that goes on to the joke of tankety tank, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
It does, but you see my point.
Yeah?
Right? Like, if this is the quality of troops, you wonder why Putin's acting up? It's because he's looking at stupid shit like this, going, these guys aren't serious.
Yeah. Oh, have you heard about...
Putin right now is sitting back going, tell me again how the Soviets lost this. How did we lose the Cold War?
I think they're actually going to send some... They're going to actually send over some skivvies. Here, guys, you're going to need them. No, seriously though, have you heard about Putin and Kazakhstan, how they're sending troops to help there?
Well, yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Does this surprise anybody?
Well, kind of, because technically that means that they're looking at possibly going on a fight on more than one front. And as we all know, once you start getting into two or more fronts, it's bloody stupid. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it is bloody stupid.
Well, you need to have a protected area. Okay?
Yeah.
For those who don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to look at the United States, well, before the peace dividend and the wall fell and everybody did this, the United States actually had a commitment to be able to fight 2.5 fronts. Okay, our military was created with the mindset that if the balloon went up, we'd be fighting all over the freaking place, and therefore we had to be able to have huge, when they say 2.5 fronts, what they're saying is offensive campaigns on 2 fronts, and the third front you're in a sustainment mode.
Yeah.
Okay. just to tell so you understand the logistics that we were looking at, right? Now we're lucky if we can fight on one front. When they say that it's 1.5, but I'm like, no, okay, that's not where we're at. Okay, now in order to be able to do that, the one thing you have to have is you have to have secure logistics. You can't have a logistics chain that gets that is inundated, that is infiltrated and cut. You've got to have a place for production, and your production must be protected. You can't have a production that's going to be interrupted. Okay. Now the United States is able to do this, and we're able to do this in World War II, because in order to attack the actual core of the United States, you kind of had to sail across the ocean.
Yeah, you had natural barrier. Let's put it that way.
And even if the Germans had developed and put money in long range bombers and could bomb the United States and bomb New York from Berlin, it would never have been able to bomb the interior of the United States from Berlin.
No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that capability. The United States, in addition to being very productive, is also very large. People who have not been to the United States do not understand. People from Europe do not understand the size of the United States. No, we're not the size of Russia. Russia's bigger, landmass-wise, is bigger than the United States. It is, all right. But that still doesn't mean we're a tiny country like Germany. And I know a lot of people look at me and go, Germany's not a tiny. Germany is a tiny country. Okay? Germany is like 2 states, Washington and Oregon. You put those 2 areas, that's the entire landmass of Germany. All right?
Yeah.
And those 2 states together don't make up one Texas. All right? Just so you understand.
Yeah. Well, I seem to remember hearing that originally Texas, at one point, there was actually thinking it was split up into like 5 different states. Did you hear about
that? There is talk about that, but that'll never
that?
happen.
Nah.
For a variety of reasons, not the least of which the Texans was one of the reasons. But okay, let's go to a different story.
Mm-hmm.
And a sad story.
Yeah.
Ready?
Oh, yeah.
Sinead O'Connor says her teen son is dead after disappearing. The singer tweeted that the 17-year-old decided to end his earthly struggle today. Sinead O'Connor says her teenage son Shane is dead 2 days after he went missing while under a suicide watch in an Irish hospital. What?
Yeah.
Now, I have a question, right? And I don't mean to, sound insensitive.
Yeah.
But as an Irish suicide watch, you stick around to watch the person commit suicide? Is that what suicide watch means to you guys?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to counter this one by saying Weinstein. Oh, sorry, Epstein. I'm just going to say Epstein. You really want to talk about anything with this? Look, I'm going to assume, and this is a pure assumption only, I'm not attempting to defend anyone here, but I'm going to assume that there must have been something at the hospital, probably a COOF issue, and that's why he wasn't actually being as what he meant to be.
In a tweet, the singer said that the 17-year-old decided to end his earthly struggle today and is now with God. May he rest in peace, and may no one follow his example. Shane O'Connor's son, with Irish folk musician Donald Lunny, she revealed that 7 days ago he made 2 severe suicide attempts and was being treated at the Tallaght, I'm not trying to put it, University Hospital in Dublin. On Thursday, after he disappeared from the hospital, she tweeted out a direct plea to him. This is a message from my son Shane. Shane, it's not funny anymore, all this going missing. You are scaring the crap out of me. Could you please do the right thing and present yourself at a Gardaí station? If you are with Shane, please call the Gardaí for his safety. The Gardaí is the Irish police. said they were looking for Shane, and O'Connor, who has bipolar disorder and has been in and out of the psychiatric hospitals herself, continued to beg for him to return. Shane, your life is precious. God didn't chisel out that beautiful smile on your beautiful face for nothing. My world would collapse without you. You are my heart. Please don't stop it from beating. Please don't harm yourself. He looks like her, doesn't he?
Yeah. First of all, it's pronounced as Garda. Okay?
Okay,
I know how it's spelled, but it pronounces Garda.
uh,
Alright? Just saying. You'll probably have forgotten by the time this show's finished. I'm just letting you know.
okay, Garda, whatever.
Yep.
I was informed by Garda that my son's death, and I later spoke with GAL. No contact from Tulsa or Tesla is unacceptable. I don't know.
I agree, it does.
What is Tulsa? Is that the hospital?
Probably, yeah.
Now, Sinead O'Connor is a mother who is in pain. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not going to take the piss out of Sinead O'Connor. All right? But I want to talk about suicide for a moment.
Mhm.
Suicide, while there are circumstances, and I realize that everyone's circumstances are a little different, right? Under most circumstances, harms the people you love. Period. Okay? It is people are in pain. I understand that, but believe it or not, what life is pain. Okay? Everyone has to go through things. Everyone has things that they have to overcome. And if you overcome those, and when you overcome those, right, you realize why life is worth living. Okay? For yourself. You start to realize that the world doesn't rise and set in your ass.
Yeah.
But if you're hurting to the point where you're thinking the world would be better off, your family would be better off, the people who love you would be better off without you, before you do something that, quite frankly, is completely irrevocable, get help. There are people to call, to talk to. Now, before somebody comes back and makes a stupid statement about, well, what kind of mother could she be, if her child sits up there and commits suicide, this has nothing to do with that, folks. You can be the best parent. You can be the best friend. All right. It doesn't mean you can do anything about somebody else's decisions. You're going to learn that in life. Right? Even when a child is 5 years old, okay, and is completely reliant upon you, they are still making decisions for themselves. Even when once they become mobile, okay, they are making their own decisions.
Hostile and mobile. Yeah.
Well, as soon as they become mobile, I mean, in any way, shape, or form, they start doing things to explore. They start doing as very children. They decide when they want to do things, right? Very young, even as infants, right? But if you're feeling that kind of pressure, if you think no one cares, there are people who care about you. Pick up the phone. All right? Talk to people. You'll find out people care more than you think that they do. They may not always show it the best. I'll be honest with you. All right? They may not always show it the best. But then, if you're unsure, ask. Right? Ask the people who love you. Now, don't assume that the only person who loves you is your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Okay, that's another thing. People tend to get enamored with the person that's their paramour, right? And all of a sudden that person becomes their entire world, and they forget all the other people around them, right? They don't see that.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy to become micro focused along those lines, and you forget there's a lot of other people out there that care about you, right?
Oh yeah.
They may not always show it, and they may show it in ways that you don't understand or don't appreciate at the time. But get help, right? I feel for Sinead O'Connor. I'll be honest with you, I'm not a fan of hers. Okay,
Huh?
um, I think she's done a lot of harm in the world. All right, but regardless, this is a parent's nightmare, and especially a mother's. Okay, this is absolutely a mother's nightmare to have to bury with their child. This is why they go
Oh yeah.
back. Okay, so I hope that you can come to terms with your grief, Miss Connor. All right, and that you find your own pathway to God. But you're struggling now. Just remember that there are people there for you too. I understand you're going through the grief, and the pain will never go away. Okay. For those who don't understand that, if you lose someone in your family, all right, the pain doesn't go away. It doesn't dominate your thinking, perhaps, every moment of your waking life like it was, right? But the pain doesn't go away, all right? But you have to live life. You have to continue, and you'll find that it's still worth continuing, right? And that happens even if the family member, if it wasn't a suicide or not. In a suicide, the problem is always the questions why. Okay, why did this take place? Right? What could I have done to change things differently? There's always those questions that add to the what did I miss? How could I have prevented this? What could have happened? Right? And for those who don't know, right? I have a sister-in-law whose husband shot himself in the head in front of her. Okay. So this is my wife's sister. Okay, you can imagine how all of that went down, right? And this is just on the heels. This is less than a year after her mother had died. Okay, the
Yeah.
kind of trauma that happens when that takes place, and it's traumatic. And there's nothing there's nothing you can do except for be there for the person when they need it. Right? I mean, that's the best thing you can do. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, she every now and then she'll go through that stage of what could I what did I miss, what could have happened. In her case, her husband didn't say he was killing himself. Her husband just did it. Okay, she doesn't know if there was no suicide note, there was nothing along those lines. Right? It may have been that it was a complete accident. Okay, not realizing the gun was loaded, which I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying it's
Yeah.
unlikely because he was a service member. He's not, and I'm sure that goes
Yeah.
through her head as well. Okay, but there's the sometimes people can't struggle, but the aftermath of a suicide, all right, I have seen and witnessed personally, and it's never the person who committed suicide. Their pain may be gone, right, but the pain that they've created, all right, is I can tell you right now is absolutely massive, and it's horrific, especially in a case like this where a mother's young teenage son, all right, committed suicide, and it's if people wonder why I'm death on drugs, including marijuana, this is one of the reasons why. because the suicide rates increase with this kind of a lax attitude toward drugs, which addles the brain that much more. It's bad
Yeah.
enough. It's bad enough with alcohol. We have. It's you're never going to get rid of everything. I'm not going to say that you're going to get rid of everything. But if you think that legalizing all drugs is going to make society better, it's not, folks.
No.
It's not. All it's going to do is get more drug-addled idiots in the world that we live in that are going to make the wrong make the wrong choice. In my opinion, granted, it's my opinion, but the harm that this causes, it's I feel for her, right? And I have send her your condolences, but it's not like I said, I'm not a fan of hers, but I in her time of grief, right, is not the time to try and take the piss out of people like that. So I just found that kind of interesting, right? The way
Yeah.
everything happened with that. So, and I kind of want to talk about that. All right,
Yeah.
ready for the next story?
Yeah. When you're ready,
On
sir.
a completely different node or anything else, this has this is going to be something no one's. I have to talk about this story.
Okay.
Cadillac debuts its inner space autonomous two-seat concept car at the CES that features a single love seat for passengers to have a more intimate experience. Now,
Wow.
if you take a look at this car, first of all, these guys just look like they came out of the Matrix. Okay, the clothing styles are not something that I'm sorry, but that's whatever. But if you take a look at the interior of this car, okay, they weren't joking when they said it was a love seat.
Yeah.
But if you're marketing this thing, telling people to have a more intimate experience, it's just asking for problems.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just pointing this out. They show me some of these other ones. What is this the orgy van? I mean, I'm just trying to a more intimate experience. Are the Teslas not good enough? Or am I missing something, Jenson?
Well, no, obviously Teslas aren't good enough. There's obviously not enough room to have your wicked little way with people. What can I say? So, luckily for the rest of the world, they've created cars that will allow them such a thing. I'm just going to point out one thing. Please, God, tell me that they have tinted windows, because otherwise every bugger's going to see
Can
it.
you
Okay?
imagine what's going to happen during wrecks? The police aren't going to know if they're going to be looking at things. The police are going to come out there going, uh-huh.
Actually, I've had a thought. This is now
do we really need
true.
to pull out the jaws of life for this?
Yeah, it actually does get worse, by the way, Nomad. Based on the size of those seats, it would be perfect for, shall we say, the larger gentlemen to sit in all on their own. And I mean the much larger gentlemen. Let's be fair. They're calling it a seat for two. I'm calling it a seat for one fatty. Okay? Let's get blunt. All right?
Okay.
Well, do you disagree?
No, but if you're going to go with a single-seater option like that, okay.
Huh? what the hell are you doing with a car like that? Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, could you see out of the windows after a few minutes because you freaking spooged all over them?
But then again, that's why those cars are supposed to drive themselves. That way you can do what you need to and the car will still get
Everything
you
was
home.
fine till I spooged on the dashboard, and also there were sparks and the car started.
Yeah, you kind of don't. That is not something you want to be called out for. I mean, could you imagine?
Warning: pissing finish is not allowed.
Horrific, but oh god, yeah.
Folks, a concept car that drives itself is fine. There is never a reason to put a love seat in the car. Okay? That's like saying you might as well put a mattress in the car or a bed. Okay?
Do not say that because that's next, and you know it.
Now, the first thing that comes to mind when you mention a bed, to be honest, is not necessarily intimate. No. Okay? For an intimate experience. When you think about a driving a long distance, if there was a bed in the car, I'd love the car to be able to drive while I take a nap. I'll be honest with you. Right?
Fair, yeah.
Anybody that's driven long distances when somebody else was driving, you can tell me you haven't gone to sleep? Bullshit.
Oh, God, yeah.
Those things will work. But you weren't intending to have a quote-unquote intimate experience, and they weren't selling it as an intimate experience. I think the marketing people for this really need some help. They really do.
Here's the question, okay? When you spooge, does it actually go beep, 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 beep? Success.
Beep, beep, beep.
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Now, I promised I was going to do a story that had a connection with COVID, but it's not about COVID. And that's this story right here.
Okay.
U.S. hospitals struggle to match Walmart pay as staff flees Omicron. In Terre Haute, Indiana, Zool. I didn't make this up, folks. Zool scrambles to get adequate coverage for each 12-hour shift. The healthcare system, with about 3,000 employees, recently decided to move nurses from support positions to direct patient care. So your nurses weren't taking care of patients? Who was taking care of the patients?
Do it themselves, yeah.
Or I'm just am I missing something?
No, you kind of do picture the nurses are meant to do this, I have to say.
Radiology and lab technicians, phlebotomists?
Blood. Yep, it's phlebotomy, it's blood.
Okay. And respiratory therapists are all hard to find. Some relief arrived in uniform in December. The state sent a couple of medics and other support staff from the National Guard. They mostly work in the emergency department, where every morning patients wait for hospital beds to open. Others work in nutrition. The current COVID surge in the area isn't expected to subside before January. The volume of patients means staffing will remain tight. We need every person every day, Zool said.
That's killing you, that is, isn't it?
It is.
But here's a mental image for you. You guys have porters over there, don't you?
Porters?
The guys that push the beds around when you have to... when basically patients have to be taken to areas.
I don't know.
Oh, what do you call them?
I'm trying to remember what they do call them. It's not
well,
porters.
Over here, in Britain's infinite genius, our porters are actually being updated and assisted by the army.
Yeah.
Yes, we're actually getting soldiers in as porters. Now, I've got this mental image of a person waking up in hospital and he sees his bed surrounded by a military. That is going to do him the world of
Thud.
good. Yeah.
In November, as COVID spread throughout the state, Indiana's unemployment rate was 3%, or 1.2 percentage points lower than the national average. The tight labor market has had a ripple effect. Sometimes short-staffed pharmacies closed without notice, so patients can't pick up their prescriptions after they were discharged, the hospital officials said. Nebraska has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the United States, with 1.8% in November. In that environment, lots of employees struggle to find workers, but the stakes in healthcare are higher, especially in the COVID era. Tony Bruns runs a community hospital, a 25-bed critical facility in McCook, Nebraska. He has been trying to recruit a third ultrasound technician for at least 6 months without getting a single application. Maybe because it's McCook, Nebraska. All right. Now, I'm not trying to take the mickey out of anybody here, but let me just type in map. McCook, Nebraska, so that everyone can understand where this is, where McCook is. It is in the middle of nowhere. Do you see this? Okay.
Oh, wow. It really is in the middle of nowhere.
All right. There is, if you go to, here, let me show you. Boom, we'll go down here. Show you Google Earth. Do you see, where's the urban part? Okay,
Yeah.
do you get it? All right.
I don't know what to say to that, but wow. Okay.
And I will like
So basically, it's a small town surrounded by an absolute arse ton of cabbages, is what you're telling me.
Well, not cabbages,
Or what?
but it's
yeah.
There is nothing nearby. All right, it's not even on the main interstate. This is the main interstate, right here. Okay. When I say the middle of nowhere, this is like Wisner, Nebraska, where I was from, right, which is up here.
Yeah.
Right. This is Wisner, Nebraska, right here. Just so people know.
Yeah.
There's Pilgrim.
Wow.
Here's Wisner. Okay, when I say I grew up out here.
Yeah.
Right? When I say there was nothing nearby, I mean nothing nearby. If you want to see what a city looks like, this is what a city looks like. This is Omaha. And Omaha doesn't even have 1 million people in it. Most people call that a town.
I'm not even going to get... I'm not saying a word. Okay.
Okay?
Wow.
I just want to point out these things. This is Lincoln, the next biggest city. McCook, there ain't nothing here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, do you understand why there's nobody, roaming around trying to get to this place? Nothing against you, dude, but you gotta understand. All right. For lower level positions, the hospital competes with the local Walmart store, where wages are rising. He monitors the pay offered by the retailer as well as other large local employers, a hose manufacturer, and an irrigation equipment supplier.
Ooh. Real high tech there. Yeah.
Irrigation equipment is kind of interesting, right? What used to be $8 a job now is $15. All right, said Bruns, a 52-year-old who once worked as an accountant for KPMG. That's the only way we can get people to come to work. No shit, dude. Okay, but the problem that you're having isn't because people won't work. The problem that you're having, quite frankly, is you've, with the quote-unquote COVID scare, many of the hospital networks and everything banned their workers if they didn't get their vaccine shots.
Yep.
All right, and the people that were banned, you're not looking to hire them, and this is understandable. Okay, if you haven't gotten the COVID shot and your network requires them to have the COVID shot, right? You can't hire these people, and yeah, you're not going to get them on the cheap. Okay, inflation's real, folks. Inflation is real. It doesn't just affect the price of your ding dongs, right, or your ho hos, right, or that steak that you're eating, or the McDonald's sandwich. It affects everything across the board, including healthcare. And if you have a Walmart worker who's making $15 an hour, right? You're going to have to. You're saying, wow, I need an ultrasound tech? Someone who can actually work an ultrasound system? Which is not rocket science. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to lie to you. All right. Figuring out how to use an ultrasound is not necessarily the most complicated thing.
Okay? Yeah.
Being able to read it correctly is one thing, right? I mean, there are some things in there. It's not super complicated. You can be trained to do this, but you're not going to get these people off the street. You're not going to get the high school kid to come off the street and do this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the kind of stress environment that you're putting these people under. And that's one of the things that I'm hearing about nurses everywhere, is nurses are quitting because even if they had the shot, because they're so short-staffed right now, they're being placed on so much pressure right now, right, that they're like, I can't take the pressure anymore, and they're walking away.
Yeah.
Okay?
Susan's said something. New York City Mayor gave the go-ahead for illegals to now vote in local elections. Wow.
That doesn't surprise me.
It horrifies me.
Should horrify everybody. Takers are now going to vote more largesse for themselves. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
People were wondering why I was taking the mickey out of asshats like Jon Stewart, right? Oh no, Jon Stewart's got a point. Screw Jon Stewart. He's one of the problems. Okay.
Yeah.
You won't find that anymore. I'm gonna have to redo that one. my Jon Stewart rant. Right. But the problem that they're having with these in these medical facilities, okay, and this is the other problem. The dirty little secret is you have people that you don't have staff, right? Staff is a problem, right?
Yeah.
But the administrators of these hospitals, the administrators of the healthcare workers, they're seeing record profits. Okay? They're seeing record profits because the government has been paying them from the COVID funds, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've been listing all this stuff as COVID. So even if the staff is suffering, it's no skin off the administrator's nose because they're making money left and right.
Yeah.
And that money is not being funneled down to the workers. It's not being funneled down to the nurses or the other hospital staff, the bedpan workers that you were talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those people aren't getting getting raises, right?
Yeah.
These are record profits that are going to the hospital administrators. I bet every single one of those bastards freaking got their freaking Christmas bonuses.
Oh yeah.
But the nursing staff, they're screwed. The doctor staff, they're screwed. Right? Now doctors, let's be honest, doctors going to get their pay. Let's be perfectly frank here. Okay, doctors are not going to. But the rest of the healthcare workers, yeah, they're. Why? I mean, with all the pressure that you're placing, especially on nurses, and and nursing is not an easy. It's not an easy profession. Let's be perfectly frank. Okay,
Hmm.
you you're expected to be treated like shit as a nurse. Okay,
Yeah.
because the doctors are going to abuse you, right? The patients are going to abuse you, right? You're on the front lines of all this crap. Nursing is a tough job, right? And when you don't have enough of them, you know the doctor has to step in and start doing his own stuff now. You know the doctor's not going to tolerate that. He'll
Yeah.
find somebody else to go get. I mean that's just the way it is,
Hmm.
right? But with the consolidation of all these medical facilities now, the decisions are being made by administrators that aren't local. These decisions are being made by corporate headquarters, like they were talking about Terre Haute, Indiana, right? Now you talking about the
Hmm.
guy in McCook, Nebraska? I guarantee he can't set policy for the hospital. I guarantee he's not able to tell people what to do, right? Who to hire.
Yeah.
You know, he can ask for someone to be with these qualifications to be hired, but right now the people who are mercenaries, the mercenary nurses, right? They're making money hand over fist, but even what they do is they'll come to a place, they'll work for a few weeks, right, and then they'll quit because they can
Hmm.
they'll get the high pay, you know, the initial high pay that's to attract them. They'll work for 2 weeks,
Yep.
realize, well, I no longer have to work here because I've made enough money now. They'll quit and take a few weeks off, and then go find,
Yeah.
knowing that they can do that and go get hired in another place, at, at the drop of a hat, because you've buried the medical group by kicking all these people out.
Yep.
When you kicked out approximately, I seen a study that they said that approximately 30% of hospital staff won't get the COVID shot. Okay, now if you have 30% of your staff refusing to get the COVID shot, and so you fire them, okay, you
Hmm.
have an automatic reduction of 30% of your capability right there, right there. Your capability is been reduced dramatically. Now, add to that a group of people who are like, you're overworking these other ones, the ones that did have the COVID shot, and they leave because they're just being overworked and they can't handle the stress anymore. Now you got 50% of your staff gone, all right? If 20% of them leave, you got 50% of your staff gone, all because of a decision not to, that you're going to kick out all the people who didn't get COVID shot. And in the United States today, if you're a healthcare worker, Biden administration has made it mandatory that you get the COVID shot.
Yep.
So this isn't going to this isn't going to change anytime soon. All right, it's not unless the Supreme Court issues an immediate ruling, and they just heard the case yesterday, or Friday rather, right?
Hmm.
For those who don't know, that case act there actually is a case in front of the Supreme Court for a ruling. It's going to go. It went to the entire Supreme Court where they had what they call it debate or they had a hearing. I believe it was Friday, either Thursday or Friday, right? They had the hearing for it, right? Where they gave arguments, right? So
Hmm.
how's the Supreme Court going to rule? No idea. Right? I have no
Yeah.
idea. I don't know how they're going to rule, right? Because the issues are so esoteric. Okay, and they're theoretical. The issues are theoretical. Okay, they have real world consequences. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but the issues are theoretical. Does an
Yeah.
employer or does the federal government have the right to order everybody within the healthcare industry to have COVID shots or not? All right, is it within their purview to use this as a regulation? And when you put it like that, okay, if you say no, well, then the federal government has no regulation on the medical industry, right? Do you see my point?
Yeah.
So where can you and where can this go? Is this an individual rights thing, or is this an overall standard thing? Right? It'll be interesting to see how the Supreme. That's one of the reasons why I don't think the Supreme Court. I have no idea what the Supreme Court's going to do. I honestly
Yeah.
don't. I'm not trying to scare anybody.
No,
This,
I understand.
but this guy acting like, well, I'm competing against Walmart. You're not competing against Walmart, dude. You're not going to get a freaking tech, all right, for $15 an hour from Walmart. You're not, okay. And if you want to be if you've got a specialized skill, right, like a radiologist, for example, right, you go to school, you get you go to a college, you get a degree, right, in radiology, right,
Mm-hmm.
as a radiology technician. Um, do you really think they're gonna go to McCook, Nebraska? I mean, is McCook, Nebraska? How many people are gonna have McCook, Nebraska on the mind to sit up there and go go to work? Now,
No, dude. How many people have even heard of it? Let's be honest.
well, I mean, obviously people like me. I mean, I knew where McCook was when before I even brought up the map,
Yeah.
but I wanted to show people what we're talking about, right? Because I'm from
Yeah.
Nebraska, right? You're talking about people, especially if they've come from like a large city or a larger area, right? Which is where the majority of these people are going to be produced is in these universities, right? In these big city universities, right? Do you think that they're going to want us to go to McCook, Nebraska? Have any desire to be part of McCook, Nebraska? Right? No, well, they're not
Hmm?
going to be. Okay, that's not. And what's bad about that is they probably love it there, right? If they're a homebody, right? If there's someone that's used to doing things on their own and likes exploring things on their own and being by themselves, they would probably love it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cost of living, I guarantee you, is cheaper than what it is in these big cities. Guaranteed, right?
Oh
You
yeah.
can probably buy a house there for like $75,000. You could have a real nice house, like a 3-bedroom house, right? You probably get a good one, right? Now,
I'm still horrified at the prices just because over here you're looking at like 1.25 to 1.5 million for a one-bedroom flat in London.
yeah, yeah, well, now you got to remember it is Nebraska, but I mean, but it's not going to be that expensive. No, it won't be that expensive, right?
Yeah.
But it'll be a nice place, right? Will it be the Taj Mahal? No, of course not. But it's going to be a nice house. You could put up a nice house, a nice family. If it was a family person living there, they could make a good living, you know,
Mm-hmm.
living there. Now, but it's a different style of life. It's a different lifestyle, and maybe not. Your family will accept that kind of stuff. It's rural living, right? You're
Yeah.
talking real rural now. You're not talking rural like you're in the city of Omaha, right? Where Omaha is a city, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
But you're not going to say, you know what, I want to go out there and get Chinese today. There might only be one Chinese restaurant in McCook, Nebraska. Maybe. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. You're not going to go down.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but you're not. You're not going to go down and go. How many different areas can they go into? They probably have what? Probably 2 McDonald's at most. The entire area, right?
Yeah.
You
That's
might.
horrifying though.
Well, I mean, like Wisdom, Nebraska, there's not one. So I mean, just so you understand, okay?
Yeah.
You,
That just means that they get to eat proper food there, unlike anywhere with McDonald's. Let's be fair.
well, it's like I said, you're not gonna have. It's not a, and it's it's off the freeway, right? so there's not a lot of
Uh-huh.
traffic there. It's going to be quiet. Okay, when it snows, it's going to suck. Okay,
Mhm.
and it will snow there. Okay,
Oh yeah.
right. But at the same time, when you're driving down the road, people will be waving to you. You'll be waving back because they're all saying hi. People are friendly,
Mhm.
right? Um, I mean, it's not like people won't be flipping one another off. You won't see it's not a dog eat dog kind of thing, but at the same time, it's not. You don't have a lot of amenities. And I'll be honest with you. There's only one reason why I live in Tucson, Arizona, and that's because of my wife. Right? My wife
Okay.
refuses to live in a rural setting. Okay? I can tell you right now, for myself, I have no problem living in McCook, Nebraska.
Yeah.
All right?
I could see that coming. I really could.
All
But
right.
yeah.
But my wife, she wants to be able to go to museums. She wants to be able to go places, right?
Mhm.
She wants to be able to get out whenever she wants and go to all these places without having to drive long distances, right? Which to me is not a big issue, especially considering that the traffic they have around here, you're in the car just as damn long anyway, right? as far as I'm concerned, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I laugh. I laugh when my parents used to come visit because they would complain immediately about the traffic, and I'm like, the traffic's not that bad today. What are you talking about? You haven't seen traffic.
Traffic. Okay. I realise that we probably don't have any Londoners that listen to this, but I'm just going to put it this way. Okay. Do not, no matter what you do not try to drive in traffic in London. It is not worth it, okay?
Yeah.
Do not bring a car into London. Use public transport because you ain't getting anywhere with a bloody car. I'm going to be honest, it's just not happening. Get out and walk, it will be quicker.
It is. If you want to see what traffic, there's two places in the well, three nasty, nasty places, right, for traffic
New
in the United States,
York,
right?
Los Angeles, and where?
New York is one, Los Angeles is another, and the other one that's
Yeah.
really, really bad, okay,
Mm-hmm.
is D.C. Washington
Oh,
D.C. area.
okay.
That
Yeah.
is horrific. Now, some runners up. Okay, there are areas that are runners up for this. Boston.
Yeah.
Boston is a runners up. Okay, Atlanta. Believe it or not, Atlanta traffic is nonsensical because those people are insane down there. Okay, all right. So those as runners up
And the
go,
heat.
there's that. Chicago is bad. All right, as a runners up, but they're only runner ups. I'm telling you now, they're only
Yeah.
runner ups. The stuff that I've seen in L.A., the stuff that I've seen in the D.C. area, and the stuff that I saw in New York. New York is exactly what you said. Don't don't try to drive in New York. If you're going to
No.
go to New York, find some place outside of New York where you're going to go, and then take the transit in. All right,
Yep.
it'll cost you a little bit. It's not necessarily inexpensive, but it's not going to be inexpensive just getting to New York anyway. For those who don't know,
Yeah.
New York has these freaking tunnels and bridges that are expensive as hell just to drive through for a car.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not talking $3 to go across the bridge. I'm talking $25 to go across the bridge one way. Right? That's not an exaggeration.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right?
Wow.
So people understand the kind of and there's millions of people that do that every day. Millions of
Hmm.
cars go across that every day.
I don't know what to say. I just wow. Okay.
Right? Now, they have ways to get to do this just so people understand what I'm talking about. Going across
Uh-huh.
the Delaware Bridge right now, I think is like $12, which is nowhere near New York, but it's $12 just to go across the Delaware Bridge to go from Delaware to Pennsylvania. I think it's Pennsylvania. It's either that or New Jersey, one of the two. But
Yeah.
even that, it's like I said, $12. Right?
That's not
So
funny.
it's absolutely insane. And like I said, millions of people go across those bridges every day. Millions. So you can see
Yeah.
how much money these transit areas get. Okay.
Oh
It's
yeah.
also one of the reasons why you don't see those bridges collapsing into the into the rivers and so forth, because
Yeah.
they are maintained. There's plenty of money
Oh
to
God,
maintain
yeah.
the damn things. Now,
Well, of course they are. I mean, who's not going to maintain something that's going to make them that much bloody money? Let's be honest.
now in Boston, it's a different story. You know, the freaking tunnels collapse on you, even though they're making like the big dig. It's a joke, memes. It's a joke. There's a thing called the big dig there. That he knows what it is. They claimed it
Okay.
was going to cost like $200 million. $2 billion later, it still wasn't finished.
Oh. Okay.
And then the day it opened, it actually almost, I think it killed like 2 or 3 people because the parts of the ceiling came down and killed them in the cars.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh, but that's funny.
It's just an absolute disaster from the get go. Okay, on to the next story. 4
Yep.
bathers killed and over 20 injured in a spate of deadly piranha attacks. If you are swimming with the piranhas, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Just put it out there. Four bathers have been killed and over 20 people have been injured in a spate of ferocious piranha attacks. Oh, are there cuddly piranha attacks that I don't know about?
It's a new breed. I don't
I
know.
mean, I, I think the word piranha attack and ferocious is somewhat redundant, don't you think?
I mean, I kind of got this mental image of these swimmers going, "Oh, coochie coochie, where's my hangle?" You know?
I just got a 22-year-old man died after he was badly bitten by the predators as he swam in the Paraguay River south of the capital of Asunción. Right, I'm not even going to attempt to butcher that name. All right, on January 2nd, his family saw him disappear from view and contacted the police, leading to a search that lasted about 45 minutes before his badly bitten body was. You're lucky you found the body at all.
Yep.
It's unusual for piranhas to be so aggressive. Since when?
Yeah. I mean, if you went up to 100 people and asked them, dangerous fish, piranha is going to be in your top 10. I'm pretty confident on this.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Uh,
Now
I mean, it goes like
I'll be
great
honest.
white piranha.
I mean, I will admit that we have a view of piranha that is brought to us by Hollywood. All right, and yes, Hollywood extends, has a tendency to exaggerate certain things, but
Piranha.
that's like
Yeah.
it's like the guy who goes to play with the gator, or the guy who sits there and goes, "Oh look, it's a tiger. Let's go pet the tiger." Okay,
Is this true? Yeah.
right? I'm, I'm, I'm not laughing until the poor guy died, right? But still, a 49-year-old man was killed in Paraguay River in the town of Puerto Rosario,
Mm-hmm.
with his body found with bite wounds after he was reported missing. Yeah. Now, these things look nasty, and they are nasty, right?
Yes.
Now, I will admit to being a bit surprised in that I always thought that all the piranha only lived in the Amazon River.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize that the Paraguay River and some of these other rivers have piranha in them. Right, so that was what caught my eye in the story. It's like I thought those things were just in the Amazon. All right, but if you tell me that there's piranha swimming where I'm, where I'm swimming, I'm not going in the water.
You think? Yeah.
Oh, it's hot outside. Let's go take a. Well, there's piranha in there. Oh, it looks like I'm going back to the bathtub. The shower should work.
Yeah.
Like I said, I realize it's probably a U.S. view due to the fact that this is been ingrained to us from Hollywood. But you
But
never see
no,
people petting a piranha. You know?
I mean, you gotta look at it this way, okay? I know it's Hollywood and Hollywood do send things into really wild ideas, but information like that comes about for a reason. I believe the term is there's no smoke without fire. Okay, I think this definitely applies in this case, don't you?
I do. And it's a school of piranha. You're not going to outswim it.
No.
Okay. Now it might not strip you to the bone in 15 seconds or whatever, all the
Yeah.
hysteria was around it. All right. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go swim with the critters either. These things are known to attack. All right, and they're known to attack anything when they get into a swarm. They attack anything.
Huh?
And I have seen documentaries where birds, right, birds that swim in those things, would be swimming in
Yeah.
there when the piranha attack, and that bird doesn't last long. Right?
No.
If it doesn't get its ass out of the water, it's gone. Okay?
Yeah.
Now,
But what you're looking for is Darwinism.
well, it's kind of a vicious cycle, because after a while, the piranha, all right, the water levels go down, and the piranha die, right? And then the birds eat the piranha. So it's kind of like one of those circle of life things, right? But still.
One minute, yeah. From Sean. I want a piranha tank, put my valuables in it. Look, but don't touch. The concept is good, mate, but it also means that you don't get to get your valuables back either. Are you certain that this is what you really want? You're basically saying goodbye to the valuables there and then.
Well, you open up the left side of the tank where the food is, and the piranha go over there, and you shut it. Then you get your valuables.
Fair point. Yeah, no, I accept that statement.
You don't just stick your hand in there with a bloody meat, going, "Hey, it's feeding time."
Drop a burger in one side, grab it at the other while you can. Yeah.
Because especially a school of piranha, right?
Yeah.
Now they're a pretty good sized fish. I mean, they're about the size of your hand, obviously with the
Oh yeah.
you saw from the video. And some of them can get up to like a foot in length, I think. So, but
Now that's scary.
Either way, I'm not getting into a pool of these things. Okay.
I'm sorry, a foot in length. Now that is a terrifying concept.
I mean, from tail to tip of its face.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying how scary.
It is.
No, I agree. It doesn't need to be huge. It's the fact there's like 1,000 of these damn things coming straight at you. That is like, I am dead. Okay, I am dead.
And what's worse is it's not going to be from one hit. I'm dead.
No,
You're going to be bitten repeatedly. It's going to be a pain. It's going to hurt like hell.
Yeah.
Look, you want to swim with the piranha? You know what? If you're one of those people who want to get in the pool with the piranha, you fit right along with those idiots in Spain that want to run with the bulls. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
You fit right along with those idiots, because it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before you get stampeded and run over. It's a matter of time before you get eaten by a swarm of these damn stupid freaking fish, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You can come back and say, "I swam with the piranha," and have a little T-shirt say, like those idiots, "I ran with the bulls," right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all you're doing is letting us know you're the idiot. Right? That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I swam with a great white and survived. Okay.
Now do it again. I dare you.
Do it when I'm around. See what happens. What do you mean I should be chumming the water?
Yeah, about that chum. Yep.
But, yeah. I'm just putting it out there. Paraguay's not a large nation, right?
No.
It's not, landmass-wise, it's significant, but population-wise, it's not what you would call heavily populated in comparison to many other areas, right?
Yeah.
But now that I know that the rivers have piranha in there, I have no desire to go go visit this place.
New place not to visit.
Not,
Tick.
not,
Yep.
it's not that I had a desire to go visit them anyway, but you just kind of gave me another reason not to go. If you needed another reason not to go to Paraguay, well, you gave it to me.
Mhm.
You weren't on the list. I know of nothing about Paraguay aside from the fact that it's named Paraguay and it's in Latin America. It's in South America, right? That's all I know about
Yeah.
Paraguay. It's next to Uruguay. Okay.
Uh, Actually, no, it's not fair. You know a new thing. They have piranha. That's it. That is all you ever need to know.
And now I know that they have piranha. Okay, so you stay with the west coast of the on the western side. I've never been to Brazil either. I would like to visit Brazil, but not
Yeah.
the and I would like to see the Amazon. I do not want to stick my feet in the Amazon. Okay.
Are you telling me you don't want to go for a swim in the Amazon?
No.
There's nothing wrong with it. There's not a special little fish that you really want to avoid. And yet,
There's multiple fish in the Amazon that you don't want to play tag with,
fair point.
including those friggin' electric eels. What the hell would you want to play with these things for?
This is true. This is fair. I can't really argue that one.
Let alone the freaking crocodiles and shit that you got swimming in there. It amazes me that
Yeah.
anybody survives in the Amazon, to be honest.
You know that when white man first found the Amazon, we looked at water and went, "Oh no, screw that." Nowadays, we're going for a swim in it. What is wrong with us? I mean, really,
When white
what
man
is
found
wrong?
the Amazon, the first thing they thought of was, look, a great place for prisoners. That's what they
Yeah.
thought. That's what they thought, and that's what the French did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's not that I'm trying to take the mickey out of people. I'm sure it's a wonderful place for the people who live there. Not going to be me. I will admit there is one attraction that I do find very attractive in the Amazon basin. For the most part, it doesn't snow, and that's a plus.
Yeah.
Lack of snow is a
Fair.
plus. Okay.
To be honest, if I was ever going to go and see that sort of thing, I'd actually like to go and see the Yucatan. That's somewhere I think I'd like to visit one day.
Why? Just out of curiosity. Why that over the Amazon basin?
Actually, from what I've heard, that is the place to feel life, even more than the Amazon. Because at the end of the day, the Amazon is life and death, whereas Yucatan is very much a life-based thing. I know that anywhere where there is life and death. I understand. But for me, it's just the Yucatan. What can I say?
The Yucatan Peninsula would be an interesting place to visit because of, to me, for the archaeological ruins.
Yeah, that's
There's
also
a lot
fair.
of the Mayan ruins and old Aztec ruins that are there. And
Yeah.
that would be quite interesting. I would find interesting. Other people would find it
Yeah.
very boring, but I would find that aspect interesting.
Mhm.
Other than that, it's a jungle, and I have no use for it.
Fully, you're not going to see any snow there, so
Yeah,
we've got another bonus.
I understand the bonus of not having snow, but that doesn't. The lack of snow makes up for one or two things, actually three. But there's like 8 reasons not to go down there. Would you like me to list them?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all is the crocodiles. Okay?
Yeah.
Second of all is the poisonous snakes. Then you have the leopards, the jaguars, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but we're not done. You get the tarantula spiders, right? You get the poisonous frogs. You get to see the point here.
You know that the Australians actually probably consider that a very, calm and light area for them.
You see me visiting down under anytime soon either.
Fair point.
Right?
Can't really argue there, yeah.
Right? I'm just pointing this stuff out. They still don't have jaguars.
No,
And
they do have
a
drop
big cat
bears.
roaming around trying to kill you.
No, but they've got kangaroos and bloody ostriches and shit. They don't need a big cat.
Yeah,
All right, you got birds that don't fly and
the
peck you to death.
emus, the emus, and they're not going to bother you a whole lot unless you go to war with them and lose. That's a separate
Exactly.
issue.
That says so very much.
But that's a separate issue. You're hunting emus with freaking machine guns and failing. Anyway.
Tickles you, doesn't it?
They actually called out the anyway. But
Yeah.
if you want to look up the emu wars, I suggest you do it. You'll be amazed at just going, just how stupid are you people?
It is funny. It is actually genuinely worth it, people. Just for the sheer stupidity.
It shows you the difference between the people who live there and the people who don't. Because the people who live there, they were told that they couldn't shoot them. Which is why they said, hey, we need somebody to come shoot these because you won't let us do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pointing it out. But
Yeah.
anyway. Still, you know, they don't have a poisonous darter frog, do they?
No, but that's probably about the only thing they haven't got. I mean, literally. I think
Things
Go
the Australians don't have. Yes, they have poisonous snakes. Yes, they have poisonous spiders. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. Do they have monkeys that fling shit at you as you walk by? No.
No, but equally, they have bears that drop on you out of the sky.
Don't have.
I mean,
the koala bears don't drop out of the trees unless you light the tree on fire, and then it only drops out half the time. Most of the time, it burns with the tree.
you're too stoned. Let's be honest.
Okay. You don't have jaguars. You don't have a big cat. You don't have.
True.
You don't have the whole package. Okay. You don't have rivers. You have a river with a crocodile, but there's not piranha.
True. True.
Okay. Oh, did the crocodile miss? Okay, well, that's okay. We got a backup.
I wonder if they actually had piranha once in the ancient past. I don't know.
And even when you have poisonous snakes, okay, you don't have things like anaconda, which is a 20-foot size. A snake that's 20 foot in length running around. Okay?
It's fair, yeah.
Okay, so when you start talking about all the different things in the Amazon, and you got, okay, it doesn't have snow. Okay, yeah. There's only so much hating of snow that you can do before you realize, well, yeah, this just isn't worth it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tolerate.
You can deal with snow. Come on.
I'll sacrifice the snow as long as the Yeti isn't coming out beating on my house. All right.
Fair. Mm-hmm.
So I'll stick to the west side of South America, right, where you got Chile and Peru, and a bit of Ecuador. Ecuador has some jungles, but other parts of Ecuador is not nearly like that.
Yeah.
Assuming that Peru doesn't go to war with Ecuador anytime soon.
Yeah.
Okay, final story.
Mm-hmm.
The final story of the day. Man busted for sex toy robbery at Adult World. When planning to rob sex toys from an adult store, it's best to avoid the establishments at which you recently applied for a job.
Oh, wow.
You know, I'm beginning to think the staff had it right not to hire you, dumbass.
Yeah.
A 29-year-old man is behind bars on multiple criminal charges after allegedly stealing $350 worth of items from a Pennsylvania business and threatening to stab the clerk if he sought to stop him. According to the criminal complaint, Jacob McFarland last week entered Adult World Emporium in North Wales, a Philadelphia suburb, and walked out with a pair of masturbators. I don't know what that is. I don't want to know. A $95 fleshlight. I don't know what the hell that is. And an auto blow
you really
AI, which retails for $250. Now, I don't know how big any of this stuff is, but I don't think it just fits in a bag.
Yeah.
I don't know. When the adult world worker confronted McFarlane in the store's parking lot, the accused masturbator thief allegedly threatened to stab the man. The employee, cops noted, was able to identify McFarlane because he recently applied for a position at Adult World. In a police statement, the victim said that Jacob came into the Adult World and instantly walked to the back of the store and grabbed the two sex toys. This sounded like he grabbed like a lot of stuff.
Huh?
Officers quickly located McFarlane at a hotel just steps away from Adult World, where he was
Oh,
found carrying
wow.
a knife and a backpack with a lock on it. Cops applied for a search warrant for the backpack, which apparently held the purloined masturbators. Pictured above, McFarlane was charged with robbery, a felony, and several misdemeanors, including retail theft and making terroristic threats. Now, can you tell me why that's only a misdemeanor? I'm going to kill you. Well, that's a misdemeanor. Why isn't that kind of like a little bit, especially if you have a knife?
Look,
I'm just putting it out there.
I don't even want to try and understand your country with that shit. I mean, let's be honest, okay? You go to California, he could have got away with nigh on like 10 times that and they wouldn't have nicked him. I mean, I'm sorry, it just confuses me how much you guys are willing to allow happen and not the police not actually get involved.
He is being held in
So,
Montgomery County lockup in lieu of $5,000 bond, according to court records. McFarlane has multiple pending criminal cases, for which charges include disorderly conduct, narcotics possession, theft, and criminal mischief. You don't say. As previously reported in these pages, an Oklahoma man was arrested in 2020 for using an auto blow AI inside an adult store, a lewd act for which he pled guilty. The pervy perp was recognized by the employee as having previously put a job application in the establishment. What is it?
wow.
This is even worse. The auto blows creators contend that the 10-speed masturbator, which plugs into a wall outlet, uses artificial intelligence to give you the perfect blowjob.
I don't even want to try and understand that. Wow. You're not wrong, Batman. You are not wrong, mate.
What did Batman say?
You can get away with murder in California, but if you dare misgender somebody, you're going to jail. You are not wrong.
I like to return this. Only 6 of the 10 speeds work. Selling you as masturbator only used twice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Horrifying, isn't it?
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me if they were handing these out to the Norway troops. Is she your laundering socks? Here's your bra.
Here's your electronic masturbator. Enjoy. What?
You'll dual function auto masturbator.
Mm-hmm.
/ dildo device.
Ah,
Oh,
dear.
God.
Do you ever remember when there were normal news stories?
Not anymore.
No. No.
We're not allowed to read those. Because if you comment on those, you're doing something against YouTube policy, regardless of what it is. Oh, I'd like to talk about the recent election. No, you can't do that. How about the masturbate? Yeah, you're good to go.
say, can you imagine Tucker Carlson trying to do that story? Wow. Okay,
Oh,
just
you just set that
wow.
down a wrong path, dude. Tucker Carlson, hell. What you want is like Good Morning America. Hey, Kathy, what's this?
Or to actually make everyone out there give up sex forever. Rachel Maddow. Right there, there will not be Nookie for at least 6 months because of the horrific image of her with a 10-speed vibrator in her hand. Come on.
You know, oh my god. This thing will give your partner the perfect blowjob. Something you've yet to achieve. I just. I have no more words.
No, there aren't any. It's just that moment of I'm done. Okay? Stop the world. I'm done.
It's time to get off.
Yep.
Bad choice of words.
Good point, actually, yeah.
That was not intentional. I don't think I'm going to believe that. Oh, well, that's all the stories I've got for now. If you got something else that you want to talk about, please, Jensen, feel free.
Unfortunately, I think that pretty much covers all of the news stories. Thank you very much, Nomad, for being here and doing these absolutely fascinating stories. Wow. And thank you very much.
I will bet,
go on.
no matter who you are, there was a story that I did today that you hadn't heard anywhere else.
Yes. And if there wasn't, then what kind of person are you? I mean, really. But thank you very much for listening, people, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Good night, everybody.